When traveling internationally, there's a few extra things that you'll want to make sure you take care of before you leave home. The first one is to make sure that your passport and all other travel documents that you need are current. Especially your passport, make sure that it's within 6 months of expiration, and check to make sure that the countries that you're entering accept passports within the window of expiration. There have been cases recently where people have difficulty coming back even though their passport is current if it's within a few months of expiring. When you're on the plane, it goes without saying, but I'm going to say it anyway, keep your passport with you at all times during your travel. That can be difficult when you are getting up to use the restroom or stretch your legs. For women, I recommend that you get a comfortable bag that fits over your shoulders securely where you can keep your most important documents with you. I'll show you an example of the bag that I like to use. I mentioned the same bag during my sightseeing video. It is this bag by Haiku, and what's great about it is it's super comfortable to wear. So you can just slip it over your shoulder, and I actually sleep with this bag on and just don't take it off when I'm on the plane. It has a lot of pockets, and I keep my passport zipped up on the inside pocket. That way, it's always with me. I also keep my credit cards in this bag and any other valuables that I'm concerned about either losing or getting stolen on the flight. You want to call all of your credit card companies before you leave home to let them know the countries you'll be traveling to. Make front and back copies of everything that you bring with you in terms of identification, your credit cards, your passport, and keep them in a safe at home or with a trusted family member. It's also a good idea to take copies and zip them on the inside lining of your carry-on bag that you bring with you. That way, if something does happen to your passport or your other documents, you can quickly make phone calls or show copies of those items as you're working to replace them. The backs of credit cards have phone numbers that are going to be very handy if your credit card ends up getting stolen or misplaced. Before leaving your home airport, make sure that you exchange a small amount of money. Somewhere between $100 and $150 will generally take care of expenses that your credit card doesn't cover. When traveling internationally, sometimes you'll find that cabs are only taking cash, and it's just nice to know that you have some cash on hand to at least get you to your hotel. When you're not paying by cash, make sure the credit cards that you use don't charge international fees. And if the cards that you have do have an international fee, it's probably worth it to open a new credit card before you leave that's not going to nickel and dime you or charge expensive fees when you make purchases out of country. Check with your cell phone provider on the most economical way for you to stay connected while you're traveling abroad. I use Verizon, and for most of the countries that I travel to, they have a great option that costs me $10 a day only when I use the service, and it uses my regular data plan. The charges only happen the first time during that 24 hours that I use my cell phone, and I don't have to make a call or do anything special in order to activate the service. It's really convenient. I'm not as familiar with the other cell phone carriers, but make sure before you leave that you've activated anything that needs to be taken care of so that you can use your cell phone while you're traveling. It's safer and it keeps you connected in case someone needs to get in touch with you if there's an emergency back home. When traveling internationally, make sure that you save some of your daily calorie intake for enjoying the local foods. Don't waste calories on things like donuts, cookies, things that you can get in the United States. Just plan carefully and enjoy those exotic dishes or different foods that you can't get back at home. You want to make sure that you're continuing your exercise routine, and that can be very challenging when you're traveling. Depending on the country that you visit, the gyms in the hotel just aren't the same, or sometimes there are no gyms at all. Sightseeing is a great way to get out, walk around, and get some daily exercise. Another thing that you can do, especially where there is not a gym in the hotel, is to bring exercise bands. They're easy to transport and they can give you a great workout. I always pack this little bag when I'm traveling, and inside is a large selection of exercise bands. And you can use these for resistance training, and again, it really gives you a good workout that you can do in your room without having a gym available. Many of the modern hotels will have converters for you to plug in your appliances or electronics. Bring your own in case those aren't available where you're staying, and you'll also find that you need them in airports, coffee shops, and potentially in your place of business. Save your expensive jewelry to wear when you're closer to home. When traveling, the better bet is to choose costume jewelry that generally costs $50 to $100 a piece. The last thing you want to do is draw attention to yourself and make a potential thief see you as a target. In most of the countries that I visited, I found that trains and subway systems are an economical, safe, and clean way to get around. Check with the hotel desk first before using public transportation, and if you do go that route, make sure that you take a picture of maps and subway systems so that you can easily navigate, and if you lose your paper map, then you've got that saved on your cell phone. Also, take a picture of the hotel card front and back so that you've got a map and an address in the local language should you need assistance getting back to the hotel. Before you leave home, learn a few key phrases in the language of the country that you're visiting. Phrases that are helpful to learn are excuse me, thank you, you're welcome, where are the restrooms, and how you can get to the local public transportation. Make sure that there are no travel advisories against going to the country that you have travel plans to. And while you're there, keep a close eye on the news to see if anything changes that might jeopardize your safety. Especially if traveling alone, text or send an email to someone close to you when you're leaving the hotel, letting them know where you're going and what you're going to do, and send them a quick note when you get back, letting them know that you've returned safely. Understand the tax laws in each country that you're visiting. In many cases, you can get your tax refunded back to you at the airport if you ask for the right documentation when purchasing souvenirs, and you bring those forms with you to the airport and follow the procedures to get your refund. International travel is exciting. Make sure that you follow the tips in this lecture to ensure that you have the best experience, whether traveling on business or for fun.